So, I know the elections are at the end of the week. Personally, I've already voted, but I still wanted to go over the CPC program. That's what happens when you put a liberal at the head of a conservative party. Note these are going to be the highlights, and I'm pretty sure some of it is going to go to Rumble. Look in the description below. Now that the disclaimer is done, I'm gonna need to prepare something first. So now that I have my painkiller, let's go through the CPC plan. They put their plan on 5 main axes. You have securing jobs, secure accountability, secure mental health, secure the country, secure the economy. So I'm gonna go through the main ones. Let's go with the first one. Recovering 1 million jobs lost during the pandemic within 1 year. That's very optimistic considering what's happening in the US. And let's look a little bit into it. Take immediate action to the hardest hit sectors. So I'm going to guess it's going to be entertainment, restoration, that sort of things. Rebuild main streets by assisting small business, blah 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 blah. Okay, so I have a big problem immediately. Rebuilding the main streets. Where is this going to be exactly? It's going to be mostly in the big cities, the ones that have been locked down by their own government for a very long time. So, speaking as a company owner, what exactly do you think people are going to do when you tell them, oh, here's a subvention to go back into the cities that have killed your own businesses? That's not going to go very well. If you look at the videos from Viva Frey, for example, who is one of the PPC candidates in Montreal, when he was on St. Catherine, for example, everything has been decimated. St. Catherine in Montreal is the main commercial city, and there's very little left in all reality. If you look at the more entertainment-oriented streets, like, it's not Saint Laurent, I already forgot the name. Essentially, you had all of the bars, you had a bunch of restaurants, you had a few what we call the café ludique places where you go to play board games, for example. I would say that when I left Montreal back in February, about 3/4 of them had already closed down. So I'm sorry, rebuilding Main Street by assisting small businesses, blah 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 blah. Nobody is going to want to risk that. So I'm sorry, but this is in pure loss, completely futile. Create opportunity in all sectors of the economy and all parts of the country. Again, I'm sorry, but government doesn't create opportunity. Government breaks your leg to sell you crutches. So I'm really not sure how they intend to do that. Next, secure accountability. Okay, from politician, that's already suspicious. Enacting anti-corruption law to clean the mess in Ottawa. Okay, Conservative will put the country first by enacting the toughest accountability and transparency laws in Canada's history. Toughen the conflict of interest law and impose higher penalties. Toughen the lobbying act to end abuse by liberals insiders. Okay, so yeah, the liberals are massively corrupt. We had the WE scandal, and we had we had the WE scandal. We had a bunch of other scandals like SNC Lavalin that touched Trudeau, and of course Trudeau killed the investigations. But here's the thing, the CPC is doing the exact same fucking thing. If you look at Ontario Conservative candidate that's called Lenstad, I think, if I remember correctly, it's for the Ontario local elections, I think. Essentially, she was a lobbyist for Walmart or Costco. I don't remember which one it is. And she was very much into continuing the various lockdowns because, let's be completely clear, Costco, Walmart, Amazon's, all of these big names have never had better years than that. So saying that you're going to toughen the lobbying act to end the abuse by liberal insiders, I'm sorry, I don't believe you, because you're doing the exact same fucking thing. Increase transparency to end liberal cover-ups. I'm going back to the same point. I'm really not sure they actually want to do anything. Next one, secure mental health. That one is that one is fairly ironic after the various CPC governments have also wanted to lock down absolutely everybody and completely ruin the mental health of everybody. There has never been more suicide attempts than 2020 and 2021. Let's see. The last year has made clear the mental health crisis we face. Yeah, no. There was no mental health crisis that was not manufactured by you. Boost funding to provinces for mental health care. Yeah, sure. I don't have a problem with that, but again, government inefficiencies and corruption. Provide incentive to employers to provide mental health coverage to employees. So I'm guessing psychologists or psychiatrists through the company healthcare program? Not entirely sure. We'll see later. Create a nationwide 3-digit suicide prevention hotline. We already have a subvention. We already have a subvention hotline. Yeah, that's appropriate. We already have a suicide hotline. Reducing it from 10 to 3 digits, I don't think it's going to do much, quite frankly. Let's see. Secure our country. Holy fuck, if this is not... If you don't see where this is going just by the image, by creating a strategic stockpile of essential products and building the capacity to manufacture vaccine at home. Oh, fuck me. You see, that's how I know that the CPC is full of shit. Let's see. We must never again be caught unprepared as we were with COVID last year. Yeah, you were not caught with your pants down because of COVID or a lack of medicine. You literally gagged every single doctor who tried to actually treat patients instead of waiting for them to get critical and put them on respirators. Fucking hell. Canada conservatives will make Canada more resilient, reduce our reliance on foreign countries like China, yeah, good luck with that, and take serious responsibility to protect the health of Canadians. Okay, I'm gonna give you a hard pill to swallow. You cannot take responsibility for somebody else, especially not for their health. When you have a bunch of people who go eat at McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's every single day and weigh 300 pounds, no, that's completely futile. Partner with pharmaceutical company. You see why he is not against the vaccine passport, don't you? To increase production of critical medicine, I'm gonna guess it's not ivermectin, and build domestic vaccine production capacity. Again, you can see why he is for vaccine passport. Just wait for the, what was it? Lobbying act or conflict of interest? Just wait for the scandal when they have, stocks or financial interest into the the domestic vaccine production capacity. Use procurement by government and those receiving government funding to strengthen domestic production of PPE. Okay, this is going on YouTube, so I'm not going to say much of it, but there's a reason every single manufacturer of mask has been writing does not protect against COVID on a box. And overall and rebuild Canada's national emergency stockpile system to ensure we have the supplies we need to be prepared for all future threats, at all times for all future threats. Yeah, your government, that's never going to happen. This is going to be a spending abyss. Let's see. Secure the economy by balancing the budget over the next decade. So this is quite literally assuming that at best a minority government from the CPC would survive at least another election in 18 months and then have another term, or actually another 2 terms to make at least a decade. Spending to protect Canadians in the pandemic was the right thing to do? No, that was absolutely not. And the Conservatives supported it. Yeah, that's how I know you're corrupt. But we can pass unsustainable debt, that's exactly what you passed, onto future generation. Again, that's exactly what you did. Once the recovery starts, it's never going to start before you don't. It's never going to start if you don't get out of the way. We will need to get spending under control, which you're never going to do because the interests are going to go sky high. Wind down emergency COVID support program, yeah, because just like the US, the Canada has a program essentially that says if you have been put out of work, you're going to be receiving some money for the government every month, essentially. Ensure that stimulus measures are targeted and time limited to avoid creating structural deficit. No, you are going to create structural deficit because once you start a program that gives money to people, it is almost impossible to remove because you have now created essentially drug addicts. And get the economy growing again after years of slow growth under the Liberals, blah blah blah, so that we have the revenue to pay for the government services that Canada rely on. Yeah, if you rely on any services by the Canadian government, I'm really sorry for you. So let's have a look. Canada Job Search Plan. Pay 50% of the salary of new hire for 6 months following the end of CEWS. 50% of the salary for 6 months? Are you fucking high? The minimum. Let's do a simple calculation. Yeah, he wants to have 1 million job created within a year. So the minimum. Let's imagine that they're all minimum salary jobs. That is, if I remember correctly, that's $7.50 or something like that. So $7.50 an hour or something like that, I think. I'm not sure. You know what? Let's make it $10 an hour or something like that. I think it's more representative anyway. So that's already $10 million per hour. Now, in one day, we have 8 hours. Now, in a month, you work, well, usually per week, you are going to work about, let's say that you cover all shifts, you are going to be working, let's say an average of 12 hours, because you have jobs that obviously don't have evening shifts. So let's say 12 hours. We are already at $960 million. That is for. Wait, what did I do? I'm an idiot. So no, it's 80 million. That's yeah. Well, fuck. I'm ridiculing myself on almost on live. So we have $1 million at. You have $1 million job at $10 an hour. So that's 10 millions per hour. Now let's say that we have. Let's say that we have 12 hours in a day on average with all shifts and all that stuff. I'm not sure if it's correct, but let's say that. So that's 120 millions a day. You multiply that by 7 because most jobs, because at least in North America, most places are open pretty much the entire week. Let's put it 6 to be a little bit more honest. So that's $120 million a week. Multiply that by 4, we are at almost 3 billion. Multiply that by 6 for the 6 months, and now you are at $17 billion for the first 6 months of employment. Just how fucking high are you? Holy fucking shit. And let's not forget, if the government is paying 50% of the salary of new hires for 6 months, I certainly hope that this is, for permanent, or that there is some kind of contract between the government and the company to keep the employee. Because if you are going to have the employee paid for 6 months, this is going to do nothing but create, at best, contracts of 6 months galore. At worst, it's going to have a bunch of permanent position with a 6 months trial period, and at the end of the trial period, you can go goodbye. That's fucking great. seriously, I don't know who made this economic plan, but this is idiotic. They should have just reduced the taxes or something. Uh, Canada Investment Accelerator, getting companies spending money and creating jobs by providing a 5% investment tax credit for any capital investment in 2022-2023, with the first 25,000 to be refundable for small businesses. Honestly, this is something that I could benefit from, but like I said, I'm really not convinced this would actually make that much of a difference. It's because if you, I'm saying this because if you are, should I say, if you are making your company in such a way that you have reinvestment or that you have some sort of deduction, if you maximize them, you actually don't necessarily pay that much taxes. So I am not entirely sure what this would have as an effect. Rebuild the main street tax credit. Okay, providing a 25% tax credit of on amount of more than $100,000 that Canadians personally invest in small business over the next 2 years to get money flowing into Main Street business and create jobs. I'm going to go back to what I was saying completely in the beginning. It doesn't matter if you have a 25% tax credit if the government has already ruined you. You cannot tax a negative amount of money. Main Street's business loan, providing loans of up to $200,000 to help small and medium businesses in hospitality, retail, and tourism. Yeah, so I was about correct on which industries were targeted. Get back on the feet with up to 25% forgiven. Yeah, like I said, I am honestly not sure what this is about. Well, I'm honestly not convinced this would even work because, again, this is a loan. This is not a tax credit or whatever or anything of that sort. And more importantly, when you have been closed by politicians for well over a year, your business is already hurting a lot. If you have not closed yet, it means that you are one of the really big brand stores who is not hurting that much. So this is probably not going to help in any way, shape, or form. Fuck me. Following pages provide detail on beating COVID-19 through vaccination and testing to fully reopen our economy. This is literal code to tell you, oh, we are going to lock you up again all the fucking time. Take immediate action to help the hardest hit sector. Again, if you're going to lock down small businesses or medium businesses, anybody who doesn't have an army of lobbyists at their beck and call, that's not going to work. Supporting small businesses. Yeah, I have small businesses. Honestly, I don't want of your support. Small businesses is the engine of the economy. To rebuild, we will need thousands of small businesses to fill the holes of our main streets. Yeah, you killed them. You killed them, and worse than that, the rents on all of the main streets are still really, really high. Thirsty. I can feel the headache going away. Securing opportunities for women. The COVID crisis has exposed how precarious the position of women is. Yeah, I'm sorry to break this to you, but you literally fucked everyone. Women are not in any way, shape, or form more hurt than men. Making Canada the best place to invest and build a business. Liberal MPA Greens have driven investment out of Canada, and the results are clear. Job investment, blah 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 blah. Yeah, like I was saying, the previous Conservative government was not necessarily that much better. The problem is, like always, in Canada, the government is going to get in your business every fucking step of the way. Building infrastructure to get the economy moving. Oh, okay. I see that we have a Biden fanboy. Modern Canada needs modern infrastructure. That means connecting all Canadians to high-speed internet. Yeah, that's. I'm sorry to break this to you, but high-speed internet is not anywhere close to being the most important thing. anybody who actually needs high-speed internet has access to it. And building the transportation infrastructure that brings Canadians goods to markets and work to work. Okay, I'm going to give you a little idea. I'm going to tell you a little something. The roads are managed mostly by the provinces. If you live in Quebec, you know exactly where this is going. You look at the city of Montreal, for example. The city is, how can we put this delicately? The city is essentially managed by the mafia. So the roads are quite literally designed to break every single year. And we are told this is because of the weather. Here's the thing. The roads in Alberta are not pristine, but they are in good shape. And the weather, especially in winter, is actually harder than in Montreal. So no, this is just going to be a money sink or money laundering initiative. Taking immediate action to help the hardest hit sector. Well, the solution for that would be to not lock down again, but as I said before, this is going to be done again. Supporting small business have borne the brunt of the downturn. Yeah, okay, he's talking about the self-inflicted crisis of COVID. It's time to rebuild Main Street. Blah blah blah. Launching Main Street business loan. Yeah, that's what we had. We had seen before. Canada Emergency Business Account Loan, $60,000, is too small for thousands of small and medium businesses. Yeah, sure. The thing is, I would not take a loan from the government because that's usually a poisoned gift. Canada Conservative will immediately offer a loan on similar terms, but offer up to 4 months of pre-pandemic revenue. Yeah. So essentially, they're saying that it's up to $200,000 based on 4 months of your revenue before the pandemic, which is again kind of a fucking joke because a lot of the businesses that existed before the pandemic, they're dead, so they don't have access to it anyway. We will forgive up to 25% depending on a company revenue loss, making the first $25,000 of Canadian administrative accelerator refundable for small businesses, providing 5% investment tax credit on all investment made in 2022 and 2023. Refundable for small businesses, providing... I'm not entirely sure what the effect would be on that, so I'm not going to comment on it. Supporting women building businesses. Okay, I fucking hate this kind of initiative. Support everyone or no one. Stamping out sexual harassment. Yeah, okay, so virtue signaling, I don't care. Supporting women who care for, again, everyone or no one. Canada's Conservative will ensure a level playing field by... yeah, okay. You see, some Canadians, but many foreign. Here's the thing. You can only defend your own market somewhat, because Canada is a tiny country with, let's be honest, no real importance on the international scene. If China or the US decides to break Canada, Canada will break, especially with a leader like O'Toole, who literally submits to anything and backstabs his own base all the time. Making foreign tech company pay their fair share of taxes. Yeah, here's the thing. They are paying their fair share of taxes, which is 0% because you made a bunch of fucking rules for deductions, which I'm also using, to be completely honest. Giving Canada competition laws real teeth. If company fix prices or abuse their dominant position should go to prison. Yeah, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, maybe, possibly. And company that abuse their power should be broken up. Yeah, so he's talking about antitrust laws. Canada Conservative, do not confuse supporting free market. Oh yeah, you fucking do. and supporting consumer with doing favor for big businesses as true liberals have. Again, the Ontario provincial conservatives with propping a former lobbyist as a candidate a lobbyist that pushed for continuing the lockdowns and fucked over all of the small businesses and to the advantage of a big brand employer. God, this is cancerous. For too long, Canadians have rubber stamp merger that enrich executive. Yeah, so the virtue signaling. Cut red tape. Every year it gets harder to build and grow a business. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't. The Conservatives make up just as many laws and red tape as the Liberals. So unless you are, how can I put this? Unless you are making rifles or that sort of things, I don't think the Conservatives are going to cut much of anything, and I don't think that even for rifles or armament they're going to do anything. Like I said on the CCFR, they are not going to do. The guy already has his head in Trudeau's crotch. He's not going to be doing anything to anger the Liberals. Appoint a minister responsible for red tape reduction, tasked with introducing and passing at least one red tape reduction bill per year. Yeah, here's the thing. You do realize that if you create a minister for red tape reduction, you're going to be creating more bureaucracy, which means minimum service of a red tape reduction bill per year. You're going to literally be spending more for that bill than, you're literally going to be spending more money than you're going to make by reducing the red tape. Eliminating unneeded or counterproductive red tape. Yeah, good luck, like I said. Create an Office of Regulatory Best Practice. Yeah, again, COVID order of doctors and everything, gagging anybody who doesn't toe the line. Form industry councils. Oh, fucking hell. Same point that I just pointed out. Improving cost-benefit analysis of regulatory proposals. Again, same thing. Fix an impact on assessment process. Same thing. Create a fast-track certification process. That's literally creating red tape. My God. Overhaul the tax system. Yeah, something that has been promised multiple times by the Conservative and never happened. Complicated tax system. Actually, it's not that complicated, to be completely honest. Meanwhile, cost and complexity fall on the middle class and small businesses. Cannot keep up, blah, blah, blah. Appointing expert panels, so yeah, even more money to make endless reviews. Break down interprovincial trade barriers. I'm all for it, but are they actually going to do it? Unlock GDP growth when the need to recover economy from COVID-19. Yeah, O'Toole is for the vaccine passport. If he keeps putting that kind of shit for example, on truckers, this is not going to go well at all. Building infrastructure to get the economy moving. Yeah, no, I've said it before. This is a Biden bill. Protecting Canadian workers during recessions. Here's the thing: you literally cannot protect them. There's nothing you can do other than get out of the way and slash into the government revenue by removing taxes. That way, it's easier for the companies to keep running. Securing for gig economy worker. I'm essentially a gig economy worker, and let me tell you, I do not want you in my business whatsoever. Canadian employees deserve the opportunity to earn more than just a salary for their hard work. They also deserve greater security in retirement. You know what? I'll make a specific video on retirement because that's something that annoys me to no end. Employee ownership companies, blah blah blah. Protecting pensions. Yeah, I'll make a specific videos on pensions. Wrong pipe. GST holiday. Yeah, this one is a truly horrible idea. I'll tell you why. To help families and help our hard-hit retail store recover, Canadian Conservative will implement a month-long GST holiday this fall. All purchases made at the store will be tax-free for this month. I'm saying this is a really bad idea because Christmas, or during the fall, it's essentially one of the biggest months of the year for sales. So essentially, if the government declares a GST holiday, then the actual services that some people might use are not going to be having any money, which means you're going to increase the deficit, and by snowball effect, you're actually increasing the debt of each Canadian. Personally, I prefer the Texas system with no income tax and sales tax. Increase Canada Conservative plan to make housing more affordable. Plan to build 1 million homes in the next 3 years. Here's the thing. The problem is the problem that COVID has caused is that many people in their small apartment realize that, I hate my small apartment. Let's get a house. So essentially, a bunch of houses have jumped in price like nobody's business. If you want to buy a house in Montreal, let's say one that is, I don't know, 1,500 square feet, you're going in the, should I say, really on the island of Montreal, not in Vaudreuil-Dorion or that sort of thing, it's going to cost you, at the very least, I'd say $1.5 to $2 million at the very least. You try to get a house in Alberta, and I'm not talking about a designer's house or something like that, just a custom house built by Trico, for example. I have a bunch of brochures right behind me. With the terrain, you're going to be spending between $300,000 to $600,000 for 2,000 square feet. So in all reality, and by the way, it's 2,000 square feet, but that doesn't include the basement, which they almost all have, and that you can finish for probably an extra 1,000 to 1,500 square feet. And so you can see what the problem is. It's not really that we have a problem with the housing supply. It's that we have a problem with with overpopulated areas. It's supply and demand. You literally cannot fix that. Building a million homes in Montreal, for example, the thing is, it means that you're going to have to build them in the suburbs. Same thing as in Toronto, which is going to create sprawl, which means you're going to have to essentially revamp your public transportation systems, like trains, for example, or you're going to have an absolute nightmare on the roads. To make mortgage more affordable, allowing those high-priced real estate market with less than 20% down payment opportunity. Here's the thing: if you make a law that you can pay with anything you want, they're going to increase the mortgage insurance. That's what is going to happen. That's not going to fix anything. Detailed plan to protect for future pandemics. Oh my god, this is going to be painful. I'm gonna have to split this video, I think. We get onto the original betrayal of the tool. Fucking climate change. So, must not ignore the reality of climate change, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, so it's essentially him trying to browbeat every single conservative into accepting his carbon tax. Low carbon saving accounts. Oh, fuck's sake, what the fuck is that? Conservative will work for the province to implement an innovative national permanent. This will put a price on. Yeah, this is a carbon tax, exactly like what has been done in Europe. This is entirely bullshit. A detailed plan to secure public safety. coming from a political party, that's already scary. Justice has the right to be free from crime of violence and exploitation. Cue the cue the anti-COVID protest. We'll make this right a reality for the millions of Canadians that have been touched by crime. Crime will always exist. You will never solve the problem of crime, violence, or exploitation, no matter what you do. The only thing that you can do is let people defend themselves. Getting tough on domestic violence. Amending the criminal code so that it is an aggravating factor on sentencing for assault where the victim is a domestic with dependent relationship on the person. Yeah, that's might surprise a few people, but I'm actually against aggravating factors completely. I'm essentially of the same opinion as in the South Park episode to say that if you are hurting someone, that is the only factor that should be considered. It doesn't matter if you are in a relationship with that person, you should be punished for the crime, not for any relation or factor that you would have with them. I don't like hate crimes and I don't like aggravating factor either. Amending criminal code so that the usage of the same firearm by two separate individuals in the commission of a crime would create a rebuttable presumption that the criminal organization committed the offense. Yeah. Here's the thing, that's not even close to being true, because you can have a firearm being used in committing a crime by a criminal organization, let's say MS-13 for example, and they can get rid of that firearm, sell it to, let's say, Elliot Rogers or essentially a lone wolf, and all of a sudden it is considered as being the same as, and all of a sudden essentially he would be considered being part of a criminal organization, even though it is not the case. So that one makes very little sense to me. Partnering with the private sector to create a gang exit strategy program that will see the power of the private sector harnessed to give the offender opportunity to escape a cycle of violence and start fresh in a new location with gainful employment and the support needed to leave behind a life of crime. Strictly speaking, I'm all for this kind of strategy, but they would need to give me more details on it. Personally, what I would like to try is that whenever you have somebody who served their time, you give them the option of having the records essentially hidden or not visible by any new employer, to be sure that they have a way of gaining employment more easily. However, if they fuck up, then you send them for if they fuck up and commit another crime, then it's automatically twice the normal sentence for that crime. Working with partner organizations, and of course you don't expunge their records ever again. Working with partner organizations across the country to develop and expand programs to keep youth out of gangs. Sure, but the thing is, you're not going to be able to do that if you keep locking down and destroying every business and employment opportunity. That's just not going to happen. The other thing is that you're going to have to severely reform your education system, because at the moment you're not learning much of anything that is actually useful in the real world in schools. Combating gun violence by keeping guns out of the hands of criminals, cracking down on straw purchasing of firearms by amending the Firearms Act so that an individual who, on 3 separate occasions during calendar year, transfer that is an absolute bullshit. That means that if I, as a collector, essentially is selling part of my collection more than 3 times a year, which is absolutely possible, because if you are buying some rare surplus rifles, it means that it's not a consumable, it's an investment that is going to gain in value. Which means if I were to say, I don't know, sell 3 Mosin guns, if I want to sell the 4th, then all of a sudden I need to get myself a firearms business license, which means I need to register myself as a company and get another extra license. That is absolute bullshit. Yeah, and so this is the part that really annoys me. Because if you remember correctly, he was saying before that, they would absolutely repeal the C-71, they would repeal the Order in Council and everything of that sort. So now they say that they will start by repealing the C-71, which I'm pretty sure they will try to do through Parliament, which will never happen because the Parliament would be at best made of two-thirds of left wing. So essentially, the law for repealing the C-71 would have absolutely no effect. And now they're also talking to keep the firearm ban, and that they would be making, a review of it. Which again, I expect that they would go, we don't want to be like the Liberals and making things through Order in Council. We want to go through Parliament. Knowing full well that with two-thirds of leftists in Parliament, that would never go through. Authorize a hospital professional to give notice to the chief firearm officer if they provide treatment for mental illness to a person whom they reasonably believe possess. Okay, I have a problem with that because it's not. You might have a psychiatric or mental problem. That does not mean that you are automatically dangerous. And quite frankly, it is not the business of your doctor to go into, to ask you or to go into your firearm possession if you are not suicidal or a psychopath. There is no justification for telling the chief firearm officer that he better take your guns. Developing a suicide prevention strategy that encourages people, including firearm, to seek help when they need it. The current system adds to the stigma associated and discourages fire. Here's the thing: if you are saying that your medical practitioner should be informing the CFO that he believes you to be mentally unstable or suicidal, and he knows you have firearms, then you're going to have the CFO and the police knock on your door to take your firearms. That's a pretty big problem. Especially if they start signaling you automatically to the RCMP. Tackling rural crime. Too many politicians, journalists, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so essentially the problem that we have frequently is that the police is so low the police is so far away when you are living in the countryside that they either don't show up or they will show up far too late. And obviously the problem in Canada is we don't have castle doctrine and we're essentially not allowed to defend ourselves with guns. Canada's Conservative will add adding sentencing. That doesn't do anything. We already know that. Based on evidence that an offense was directed at the property or person that was vulnerable because of the remoteness from emergency services. Like I said, adding more sentences or aggravating factors is not going to do anything. The RCMP will still be coming in and they will just count you as an increment while you're alive with your brain out of your skull. The only thing that will fix that is castle doctrines and guns. Fighting online incitement, for fuck's sake. Recognize the connection between incitement to violence, especially online, and acts of violence in Canada and other countries. Is this motherfucker going to go January 6th? Conservative will fight online incitement of and hatred by clearly criminalizing statements that encourage violence against people or identifiable groups. Conservative will also protect the freedom of speech, criticism that does not encourage violence. Here's the thing. The censorship minister of Trudeau introduced a couple of laws to censor the internet. I think it was C31 and C10. I don't remember. The first one passed the House and got defeated in the Senate, very much to my surprise. And then he came back with the C10. And here's the thing. Multiple conservatives voted for it. So when he says that he will defend freedom of speech, I don't believe him. He is conservatives are all too happy having the liberals do the dirty work for them. So I'm going to speed up a bit because I'm getting tired. So, international plans. Northern and Arctic diplomacy, so this is essentially fighting a bit with China and Russia. Canada will not do anything in it because they depend on the US, and the US is being controlled by, well, a meat puppet answering to China. Canada as a Pacific nation, I'll get a bit more onto that, but you cannot be a pacifist in a world where China exists. Canada in the Middle East, yeah, so you're going to be you're essentially going to be sending a lot more firearms and weapons to the region, because God knows this is not going to go against you at some point. Securing on our border, yeah, have that thing walk the border up and east to west all the time. This is going to scare the immigrants away. For fuck's sake. Going to improve our healthcare system. Yeah, no, you have. Here's the thing: the healthcare system is going badly because it is socialized. It should be more working like what is going. It should be more working like what is happening in Japan. That is essentially semi-public, where you still have to pay when you go to Japan, but you also have a lot of how can I put this? You also have a bunch of preemptive healthcare. Like if I remember correctly, when you turn 30, and you can that's it. When you turn 30, every single year you can have a physical done at the hospital. You still have to pay for it, but it costs way less, and it allows you to detect all sorts of physical problems that you might have, and treat them very early instead of spending a whole bunch of money trying to treat terminal patients. Essentially, good joke. Good joke. Conscious protection. We prove the conscious right of healthcare professional. No, you don't. The challenges of dealing with COVID-19 has reminded us vital importance of healthcare professional. That's why you're trying to force them out unless they vaccinate. Professional will ensure faith-based. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to create a new religion that is specifically anti-COVID vaccine and anti-mask. I'm sure this is going to go swimmingly. Promote free speech on campuses. Yeah, because we have the same problem as the US with CRT, BLM, and all that bullshit. Canada conservative will blah 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 blah. Give Radio Canada separate and distinctly structure. Yeah, because one of the big problems we have in Canada is that we have a bunch of essentially government-funded organization or broadcasting organization that are running nothing but propaganda for the government, and so the conservatives are there saying that they will give different structure, administration, or whatever the hell. What they need is not to be given different legal and administrative structures. What they need is to be defunded or privatized entirely, and it also needs to be illegal for the government to give any money to the media, because Trudeau is giving 600 million to the media over, I think, 2 years, to the point when you have some of them on the actually it's right there, and Trudeau 600 million media bailout, because you have some organization where most of their money, more than half, is literally coming from there. To secure social services, what you should be doing is to make sure that you're showing kids. So I'm going to put it like this: you should be making sure that parents are actually taking proper care of their kids, and you should be reforming your education system to make sure that people know how to actually, to make sure that people have marketable skills out of the school at 18, not forcing them to go through God knows how many years of training to sell insurance door to door. That's the way to. Yeah, no, you're not. Remember this little calculation that I did just in the beginning? You're not reducing the deficit. You're going to go massively overboard. Yeah, no. So I'm a bit too drunk to go into the entire analysis. I'll just say this. He's lying. Vote PPC. So I'm going to finish my drink and I'll see you in the next one. Salut, bonsoir.